All right, welcome back to Macroeconomics. This is it, the final part of our series, where we pull the camera way, way back. We've seen how one little cat makes choices, how they trade with their neighbors, but now we're going to zoom out. We're looking at the entire cat kingdom to figure out why some are thriving and others are, well, just scraping by. So have you ever wondered why some kingdoms seem to have overflowing bowls of food while others are fighting for scraps? Or why the price of catnip seems to just shoot through the roof sometimes? Well, to get those answers, we have to look past the decisions of just one cat and check out the big picture. And that, my friends, is the world of macroeconomics. So let's jump right into our first and maybe the most important macroeconomic principle. What's the real secret? What's that one thing that makes a cat kingdom, or any nation for that matter, truly wealthy?
Believe it or not, the answer really boils down to one single powerful word: productivity. Now, this isn't about working harder, it's about working smarter. It's all about how much stuff, mice, pate, cat toys, a kingdom can actually produce in a certain amount of time.
And I mean, just look at the difference this makes. You've got the wild cat on the left, hunting with its bare paws, and maybe it gets lucky and catches one mouse all day. But then, over on the right, you have the Meow Tech cat. It's using automated traps to catch 10 mice an hour. That leaves a whole lot more time for napping. Their standard of living? It's worlds apart, and it's all because of productivity. So here's the crucial takeaway. If you want to raise the standard of living for the entire cat kingdom, you don't just print more money. That's not how it works. You have to get better at producing things. And that means you have to invest in these three key areas: better education, so you have smarter hunters, better tools, and access to the best technology out there. Which actually brings us perfectly to our next principle, and this one is all about money. So let's imagine that instead of dollars, our cats use something called pate vouchers. As you're about to see, this can lead to a really common and kind of tricky problem.
Yeah, that problem is inflation. You've definitely seen it. It's when suddenly it feels like the cost of everything, from a can of food to a new scratching post, just starts going up and up. But why? Why does that happen?
Okay, picture this. The Cat King gets this bright idea to make every cat rich. So he just prints millions and millions of new pate vouchers. Everyone gets a huge stack and immediately runs to the store. But here's the problem. The number of pate cans on the shelf is exactly the same as before. So now you have way more vouchers chasing the same amount of stuff. What do the shopkeepers do? They just raise the prices. Your vouchers are suddenly worth a whole lot less. This whole idea is captured perfectly in this famous quote from the economist Milton Friedman. He said that in almost every single case of massive or long-lasting inflation, the culprit is simply creating too much money. And history shows this time and time again, from Germany in the 1920s to more recent examples. When the amount of money goes up fast, prices follow right behind. Okay, we have arrived at our final principle. And honestly, this one deals with one of the most debated and complex trade-offs in all of economics. It helps explain the economy's constant ups and downs, or what we're going to call the catnip business cycle. So, in the short term, when the Cat King pumps a bunch of new papati vouchers into the economy, it can feel like a huge party. It's kind of like giving all the cats a big dose of catnip. They get super energetic, businesses start hiring more workers to keep up with demand, and unemployment goes down. But we just learned what happens next, right? All that extra spending pushes prices up. Hello, inflation. The thing is, you can't live on a catnip high forever. So, to fight that rising inflation, the Cat King might decide to cut way back on creating new vouchers. The catnip gets taken away. Now, this does help cool down spending and get prices under control, but it also slows the whole economy down. Businesses might have to lay off workers, and unemployment can start to creep back up, at least for a while. So what you end up with is this constant juggling act for policymakers. Over a year or two, a lot of their policies push inflation and unemployment in opposite directions. They're always trying to steer the economy through these irregular, unpredictable ups and downs that we call the business cycle. They can't just get rid of this trade-off, but they can try to manage it. So after our whole journey through the cat kingdom, from a single cat's tiny decision all the way to the fate of the entire economy, what have we really learned? Let's try to boil all of Macroeconomics down to its most basic rules. It really all comes down to this. First, on the individual level, every choice we make is a trade-off. Second, we're not in this alone. Interacting and trading with others makes everyone better off. And finally, the true prosperity of the entire kingdom doesn't come from a printing press. It comes from the ability to produce stuff, and having the wisdom to manage the money supply. These three layers, the individual, the social, and the national, they're always working together.
And of course, these principles aren't just for cats. They are shaping our world every single day. Economics is a really powerful tool for understanding how that world works. So the next time you see a news headline about inflation or economic growth, you'll have a much better framework for what's really going on. The only question left is, what economic trade-offs are shaping your world?